Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be reading from an old book of scary stories. So let's jump right into it. The mountains rise up abruptly from the fertile but narrow valley in which the village of Stokaro nestled like a bird in its nest. The river which flowed through the village was the only outlet for the bewohner or inhabitants of Stokaro to the outside world. In fact, many of them had never even seen the sea, although they knew of its existence. As I have said before, it was the only way out of their valley, till one day there arrived a stranger who had come from over the mountains. He was tall and handsome with long flowing hair and a charming smile. He explained to the astonished villagers that he was a traveler and that he had come to rest a while before continuing his journey. The villagers were suspicious at first, thinking him to be a spy sent by the ruling countess who oppressed them so heavily. But the strangers soon dispelled this notion by renting a cottage outside the village and by letting it be known that he was rich. Every morning he would go for long walks in the hills, and every evening he would return home with a jug of fresh blood, which he said he obtained by hunting animals. The villagers thought this odd, but as he caused no trouble and paid his debts promptly, they did not interfere with him. One day, the young and pretty daughter of the innkeeper disappeared. She had gone to gather flowers in the hills and never returned. A search party was organized. The men went up to the stranger's cottage, but he was not at home. However, they did find the girl's hat and a small silver box lying on a nearby stone. They opened the box, which was locked, and found a woman's comb and a small vial filled with a dark red liquid. They also found a ring, which had once belonged to the missing girl. When the stranger returned home that evening, he was promptly arrested by the villagers, who accused him of having kidnapped the girl. He listened calmly to their accusations, and then told them that he was going to show them where she was. They followed him up into the hills, and when they reached a certain spot, he stopped and made a hole in the ground with his cane. There they found the girl's body, pale and still, but with two small holes on her neck. They took the body down to the village and laid it in a coffin. The stranger insisted on carrying the coffin to the graveyard, though he had to be practically dragged there by the angry villagers. The next day, the girl was buried. And afterward, some of the bolder villagers went to the stranger's cottage to see what could be found there. The windows and doors were locked, but one of the men climbed up to a window and looked in. The room was empty, except for a large chest in one corner. The men broke into the chest, but found nothing but old clothes and a pile of gold. The next morning, the chest was gone, but in its place, they found a small wooden box. Inside was a small vial filled with blood and a note written in the stranger's elegant hand. The note read, "Your accusation was just, but I am innocent." Suddenly, a scream split the air. One of the villagers had accidentally pricked his finger while handling the vial, and the blood had dropped onto his hand. It burned like fire and he dropped the vial, which shattered. Then the blood began to bubble and smoke came out of it. The men ran out of the cottage as fast as they could, and the chest, which they had thought to be empty, suddenly slammed shut. When they dared to open it again, it, too, was empty. The men ran as fast as they could to the village, screaming, "Beware, beware, the devil himself has come among us." The story goes that from that day forth no one ever saw the stranger again, but sometimes on dark nights, the villagers can hear the sound of his heavy tread as he walks past their homes on his way to the hills. And every now and then, when the moon is full, they swear they hear the echo of screams from the hills near Stokaro. Thank you for listening. Please leave this video. Please leave a like and subscribe. If you want to hear more scary stories, click the playlist right here. Thank you for watching.